Hi there and welcome to Module 1K of my Python full course. If you have not enrolled into the course by subscribing to the channel already, I recommend you do that, and let's get started. So last time we had the idea of a function, which, print is a function. It exists already in Python. You'll notice it suggests it for us. Print is, if you just ask what it is a function, and we invoke the function by doing something like this. Print A. It's going to do whatever the function was defined to do, and the developers of Python said what it's going to do is find the best place to output it, and it's going to output it right here. So we can make our own functions, as we already saw. The question we're going to look at is this idea, and I said it subtly here, the name. So print is an existent name. If I ask what p is not a name. It's because the people of Python decided that p doesn't have any real meaning, or at least not as useful enough as a meaning to be something that they want it to be. We can define p so that maybe p is a function, or it's a variable, whatever we want it to be. We'll define p, which is a function of x, which will just print x. So if I ask what p is a function, and I can call p by doing the round brackets, and I can say, okay, maybe I want to pass it the string of my name is Greg. All right, so p of Greg, it's going to print x, where x is actually this string, and it is going to output Greg. We have seen all of this before. The idea is that we made this new name, and it exists in this scope. Actually, I'll keep that. Down here, I can ask what p is. Anywhere, actually, I can ask what p is. Even in here, I can ask what p is. And if I call this thing p, I'll run this again. Then what it does is it says, oh, okay, I know what p is. It's this function, and it is going to print whatever that is. And it's something weird, it doesn't matter. I will get rid of that for now. I'm just demonstrating the point of these names and where they do and do not exist. I'll show you another place they actually do exist, which might surprise you. I'll set x equal to 5. Actually, I won't change the variable names. I'll keep all different variable names for now, although it's an important discussion for soon after. I'll set z equal to the value of 5, and then I'll say if z is less than 5, then I will print, say, z is less than 5, and otherwise, what I want to do is print z is not less than 5. Okay, so that's again not a shocker. Now what I'm going to do is say in here, I'm going to set a equal to, say, 1, but down here, I'm going to set b equal to 2. Now if I run this code, what actually gets executed? Well, it's saying z is not less than 5, meaning this stuff got executed. Therefore, we set b equal to 2. So we know for sure that in all of this indentation stuff, so anywhere in this indent, b is going to exist, at least it better. So if we say, oh, print b, well then does that exist? Yes, it's totally happy with that. B is 2, so we'll print that. But does b exist out here? Even though in this indentation, that's where b was defined only. Does b exist here? In Python, yes, actually, it does exist there. It's interesting. The way the spot stuff doesn't exist is, for the most part, functions. So I have this function p of x. Does x exist? Well, in the function, it's going to exist, because that's where we're calling it. But does x exist out here? No, x doesn't exist. Even though we've defined this function, even though we've called this function with this thing, x does not exist. In this function scope is the term, x is the only place, this is the only place that x exists. Otherwise, it's going to fail. So we can't ask what x is over here. Equivalently, or similarly, if we set maybe y equal to 4, and we define that, well, does y exist? No, it doesn't, and the reason for that is because this code block didn't even run, but that's not the only reason. Even if we force this stuff to run by running the function, then does y exist? No, it still doesn't, because we did it in this local function scope, and it wasn't on the global scope is the term, so y didn't exist. All right, there's a lot more to play around with that later, which we'll find, and I will see you in the next part of the module.